Hi, everyone. Welcome to Soul Work Wednesdays. Welcome to March. Here we are. Time is moving along, and I don't know why it's so shocking to me that time keeps moving so fast. But I've heard from more than one source that the year starts now. And I know at some point in February, I felt like we had gotten that pickup. And now, I guess, as we move into the month where we will officially be in spring, although I will tell you here, it already feels that way. And we've had some crazy weather. We've had like 80-degree weather, and then we've had torrential rain and tornado warnings and like wind gusts up to 80 miles an hour here. So it's hurricane weather. And so it's been a little bit nutty. And so I do feel like things have stirred up. And here we are in this space of potential overwhelm. And I don't really know anyone. I have not spoken to anyone. I have not seen anyone in my office who is not in some way feeling depleted and overwhelmed and exhausted and somewhat frustrated about the reality of life and how it's sort of showing up. And this is the recursive reality of life, is that we just do these things on repeat, and there's this list of things that need to get done, and sometimes they get done and sometimes they don't get done, and hopefully at some point we get them done. But I think it is becoming overwhelmingly clear that we're all struggling a little bit with staying present. And that's including me. This week, I was talking to my kids and I said to them, I was like, figure out a way to see the sweetness and see the things that are working and see the things that, are sort of lovely and wonderful about your life, because none of it's easy. And it's, if you don't really look for the wonder, if you don't look for the things that ignite joy and spark your own heart, then we can get lost in this void. And the void is real. That feeling of sort of emptiness and that feeling of feeling overwhelmed. My dog is literally biting my boot. I was like, what are you doing, dog? Feeling overwhelmed by like the reality of just having to take care and manage all of the things. And so I want to invite you into this moment and maybe this question of, what really ignites your joy? What allows you to sort of like steep in the beauty and the wonder of being alive? And, some days this is like, it's easy to see, and other days it feels like I I don't even want to look for it. Okay. So acknowledge wherever you are on that spectrum today. And if this is triggering it in any way, if you're like, I don't want to look for my joy, like I get it. I've been there. That's why I keep asking myself this question lately, because I have been sort of like feeling crushed by the too muchness of life. And so, in that space of feeling that way, it's like, okay, well, how am I going to pull myself out of this? And, we don't necessarily want to pull ourselves out of the experience we're having, but we do want to acknowledge it. And we do want to sort of steep ourselves in, whatever is showing up, and then also hold space for both things to be true. So what are those small pleasures? What are the things that really, speak to you and support you and nourish you and uphold you? And, I, there are just simple rituals throughout my day that I really don't know, if I would be functioning without them. And that's like my coffee, or my morning coffee, like spot, and the people in that spot, and um, my workout that I can hopefully get to, a couple times a week, for, whatever time allows. But, and I know that those things are a luxury, and those things are, but they add so much sweetness, and I don't want to give those up. And I don't really want to like be in a position where I have to even know what it is to have to give them up. So, um, where are you going to find the sweetness that is part of being alive? And I think very often we have to look to our pain, because if we can't hold space for our own pain in our own heart and our own depth, then it's going to be very hard to really even look for that sweetness, because we almost resent it. And if you're trying to cut yourself off or not see your pain, you're going to resent it more, because you're not letting yourself fully experience whatever you're experiencing. So we have to hold space for both things. Um, we can fake it till we make it. We can pretend. We can cut ourselves off. We can disassociate. We can force ourselves into a happy place. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about literally finding the things that, even in those simple moments, like, they spark joy. At some point in time during the day, I have these prisms hanging from by my window, and the light shines in, and then it looks like there are like little tiny little fairies all over my house, because all these little beams of light kind of show up in here. I'll take a picture at some point the next time it happens. It's not happening now. Um, or else I would show you. But it's one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, that, like, there's the sweetness. Look at the light coming into my house. And so, where are you going to find it? It can be in really simple things. Every morning I take a walk, and I have to walk I have to walk the dog, but I walk the dog, and there's this one tree, and I take this picture of this one tree almost every morning. And, like, I don't know what inspired me to do it. One day I just saw it, and the sky was stunning, and I took the picture. And then, so over time, the tree changes and the sky changes. And so it's been this sort of, like, again, this little sweetness. So looking for those little things that ignite this place, that feed and nourish you. So, um, Reggie's behaving. He actually lying down under my chair, which is like a small miracle. So feel the pelvis settle, feel your body settle, maybe rock a little bit from side to side, so that you feel that anchor through the pelvis, and feel the front ribs float into the back ribs. Let the shoulders come away from your ears, feeling the rise and the fall of your breath. And if you in this moment don't feel like you can sort of like grasp for anything that really sparks joy, I invite you to turn inward here. And I always say the first thing that we can really hold some space for, gratitude for, is this pulsation of the breath. We are breathing. And some days this will be it. Some days this will be the thing. And maybe you can't get any further than this because there's too much. So allowing the eyes to close if that feels good to you. And as you settle into the rise and the fall of the breath, try to lengthen the breath, especially the exhale. And just notice if the breath is stagnant or if it's rhythmic. And when we imagine it like that wave, when we inhale to that top and we exhale to the bottom, we move ourselves into the flow of the breath. And as we step into this pulsation and into this flow, can we sort of rest here? And as we inhale, we plug into the resource of our own power, of what it is to be alive, what it is to be present, to having this experience of being in a body and having a heart and a mind, having a diverse experience. It is not one note. It is full spectrum experience. We're not just going to feel one thing. So when we hold space for that diversity of being, diversity of being in our many emotional states, mental states, physical states, energetic states, and can we slip out of that space of overwhelm so that we're held here in our own nourishing presence, so that we can move through our life moment to moment, breath by breath, and when we ask that question, what ignites our joy? Very often we want to bypass all of the pain to find the joy, but sometimes we can find the joy in the pain. And I don't mean that our pain brings us joy. I mean that our pain gives us access to ourselves in a different way. We receive more of ourselves through this process of being alive and being in a body and untangling the emotions, the triggers, the trauma that not only has imprinted our mind and our body, but that imprint is gently and softly releasing ourselves into our own care. We are affected by our experience. We all hold it differently. And when we're able to see how it's holding us, then we can potentially unravel ourselves from it to create a new imprint, to create a new pattern. When we hold space for our pain, when we honor the imprint, we create space to actually ignite our own joy and even touch the joy that we're holding within. Draw your hands into prayer, Anjali Mudra, in front of your heart, sealing any intentions you're holding. Gently bowing your head to your heart and to your body, to your mind, to this resource you hold. Release your hands and open your eyes. Hopefully feel a little more settled and a little more available to yourself. And I hope you have a beautiful week, and I will see you soon. Bye.